Let me ask you something. Has a guy ever looked you dead in the eyes, said something that sounded sweet, and yet some part of you, some deep, ancient, been-here-before part of you went completely cold? Like your gut just filed a police report before your brain even finished his text? That's not anxiety. That's not overthinking. That's your instincts doing their job. And today, we're giving those instincts a megaphone. Because here's what nobody tells you. Users, and I mean the kind of people who treat you like a vending machine with feelings, they don't just take, they ask. They ask specific, carefully crafted questions designed to keep you confused, keep you available, and keep you completely off balance. And the wild thing? Those questions don't sound dangerous. They sound romantic. They sound reasonable. Sometimes they sound like love. That's the trap. So in this video, we're breaking down 5 questions that users almost always ask, and once you hear them, you will never unhear them. Let's get into it. Question 1. Why do you always make things so complicated? Oh, I'm sorry. Is honesty complicated now? This is the opener, the tone setter. A man who is using you needs one thing above everything else: simplicity. Meaning your silence, your compliance, your willingness to not ask too many questions. And the moment you start asking questions, expressing needs, or pointing out inconsistencies, out comes this line. Why do you always make things so complicated? This is not a question. This is a redirect dressed in frustration. What he's actually saying is, stop noticing things, stop having standards, stop making me accountable. And here's the genius, and I use that word loosely, of this question. It makes you feel like the problem is your personality, not his behavior. Suddenly, you're sitting there wondering, am I difficult? Am I too much? Meanwhile, he's literally dodging a conversation he doesn't want to have. Real love does not find your needs complicated. Real love finds your needs worth understanding. So the next time someone hands you that line, let your face do the work. And remember, you're not complicated, you're just clear. And clear is exactly what users can't handle. Question 2. Why can't you just be chill? The cousin of question 1. Different packaging, same poison. This one usually shows up when you express an emotion he doesn't want to deal with. You bring up that he disappeared for 3 days. You mention that something he said hurt you. You ask a completely reasonable question like, are we exclusive? And instead of answering, he tilts his head, does this little exhale, and says, why can't you just be chill? Let me translate that. Chill means don't have feelings. Chill means accept whatever scraps I give you and act grateful. Chill means be available when I want and invisible when I don't. Be chill is not a request for your emotional style. It is a request for you to perform emotional numbness so he doesn't have to show up. And here's the thing that should make your blood just boil a little bit. The women he describes as chill, they're not chill. They're either not paying attention yet or they already gave up. You don't want to be either. Your emotions are not a personality flaw. They are information. And a man who asks you to silence your information is a man who is hiding something from you. Question 3. Why do you need a label? Oh, this one. This one has ended more potentially great relationships than long distance ever could. You've been talking to this man for 4 months. You spend weekends together. You've met his dog. His dog likes you. And you finally ask the most reasonable question on earth. What are we? And he fires back, why do you need a label? Because language matters, because clarity protects people, because what are we is not a trap, it's a question, and questions deserve answers. But here's what why do you need a label really means. I want all the benefits of a relationship without any of the responsibility of one. He wants your time, your energy, your loyalty, your Sunday mornings. Just not your official title, because that title comes with expectations, and expectations mean accountability, and accountability is the one thing a user will run from every single time. The label isn't just about a word. The label is about whether or not he's willing to choose you publicly, consistently, and without an escape hatch. If he won't close the door on other options while fully accepting everything you offer, he is not your person. He is your practice run, and you are not a rehearsal. Question 4. Why do you always bring up the past? You want to talk about manipulation? This question is a masterclass. You finally bring up something real, a lie he told, a promise he broke, a pattern you've noticed, and instead of addressing it, he shakes his head with this weary look like you just exhausted him and says, "Here we go. Why you always bring up the past?" First of all, it's the past because it happened. Second of all, the only reason the past keeps showing up in conversations is because the behavior hasn't changed. This question does two things simultaneously. One, it reframes accountability as cruelty. Suddenly you're the one attacking him, not him repeating the same destructive pattern. Two, it erases the record. And users need the record erased because the record is the evidence. Here's the rule. Bringing up the past is toxic when it's used as a weapon in an unrelated argument, but bringing up the past is completely reasonable when it's a documented trend that directly relates to the current issue. If he lied last month and he's acting suspicious this month, the past is relevant. If you hurt every time it rains, you don't ignore clouds. Past patterns predict future behavior. That's not pessimism, that's pattern recognition. And a man who tells you to stop recognizing patterns is a man whose patterns cannot survive your attention. Question 5. Don't you know how I feel about you? Save this one. Screenshot it. Pin it to your wall. This is the emotional trump card, the nuclear option, usually deployed when everything else has failed, when he can't talk his way out, can't flip the script, can't make you feel crazy anymore. So he reaches deep, puts on his most sincere face, and says it softly. Don't you know how I feel about you? And your heart does a little thing, because it sounds like vulnerability. It sounds like depth. It sounds like finally. But watch carefully. This sentence has no subject and no verb. He is not saying, I love you. He is not saying, you are my priority. He is not saying anything with any actual commitment in it. He is asking you to fill in the blanks with your own hope. He is outsourcing the confession to your imagination and then living rent-free in whatever you believe. Actions are not optional supplementary content. Actions are the whole point. Feelings that never become consistent behavior aren't feelings, they're conversation starters. And a man who thinks regularly showing up for you is a burden, but wants credit for how he feels, he is not in a relationship with you. He is in a relationship with the idea of you, when it's convenient. You deserve someone whose feelings are loud in their actions, not just their excuses.
So let's land this plane. Users don't just take your time and your energy, they ask questions that are specifically engineered to keep you doubting yourself, defending yourself, and staying exactly where they want you. They call your clarity complicated. They call your feelings dramatic. They call your standards a label. They call your memory an attack, and they call their avoidance a feeling. But now you see the playbook, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You are not too complicated, you are not too sensitive, you are not too much. You are simply too awake for someone whose whole strategy depends on you staying asleep. The next time a man hits you with, "Why do you always make things so complicated?" look him calmly in the eyes and say, "I don't. I just make things clear, and I understand that's the problem." Watch what he does next. That's your answer. And since you all always ask, here are 5 books that go deep on everything we just talked about. Number 1, Why Does He Do That? By Lundy Bancroft, the definitive guide to understanding controlling and manipulative men. Number 2, Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, all about attachment styles and why certain dynamics feel so magnetic even when they're harmful. Number 3, Women Who Love Too Much by Robin Morwood, a classic that hits different once you see yourself in it. Number 4, The Gaslight Effect by Dr. Robin Stern, specifically for understanding how users reframe your reality. And number 5, Should I Stay or Should I Go by Lundy Bancroft, for when you're in the middle of it and genuinely don't know what to do next. Read those and you won't just spot a user, you'll understand the entire architecture of the trap. And understanding the trap is how you walk away from it. If this hit, subscribe. This channel is for people who refuse to be managed. I'll see you in the next one.